And we're there, exactly with the restart, and it's going to be slightly nicer Arabia. It's going to be the grain variety, definitely easier to watch, and yeah, the details on the map are kind of easier to see. So let's just turn off the chat as well as everybody else is doing so, because there are yet again quite a lot of observers or other spectators, and they might be spoiling a bit here and there, and we definitely don't want that. Well, the civilizations are going to be the same, of course. It's going to be Mongols, Britons, and Huns, and against them Persians, Mayans, and Huns. And who is actually going to be the flank in this case for CZ? Well, Bulbasaur, Draconti. Okay, so Bulbasaur is going to be flanked on the right as Huns. Yarosa is going to be another flank with Britons. Whereas in the pocket they are going to be having Mongols. Well, yeah, that's not really that bad. Definitely nice spawn, and for the opponents we are looking at the pockets of Huns. That's definitely nice for them. You can probably know what Huns can do in the pocket if they are not disturbed at all. And well, that's definitely going to be the aim of the Spanish team, because on the flanks having Bart and Lan, especially Lan at the top, I'm thinking as the strongest player from the Spanish team with about 1950 rating quite consistently, that should be really hard nut for Yarosa, who is about, well, 1850 or 1800, whatever I was looking at a bit before. Yeah, it should be really kind of tough nut for him to crack, and should be kind of easier for Lan. But he's playing Persians, so yeah, we don't really expect all that much actually attack from him. He's going to be probably hurrying up a bit into Castle Age, hoping for the boom in there, and of course the horses a bit later. And that really seems to be some kind of idea in the games that I've cast so far, that they want to be having two civilizations with paladins, because it's really useful, especially because of the knights rather than the paladins, because this bot for Nations Cup, of course, makes slinging, and of course also walls a bit more difficult to make. And, well, actually with walls a lot difficult to make, a lot more difficult to make, and even build up, because they take longer to build. And that means that the knights in the Castle Age are usually quite effective for the raiding, especially if you are having the skill backing it up. We are right now looking at Purple actually going to be attempting to steal Bulbasaur and Bart. Yes, he's definitely gonna steal this boar if he's successful. Right now we are probably having a pause, or maybe they're already talking about stealing the boar. That definitely could be, because we are in the overlay, so there is a minute and a half already played before, or rather after what we are right now seeing in here. So that could have been already the boar being stolen. And maybe the Spanish team actually thinking if they should be restarting the game because of that. Right now Yarosa come in for a bit of a boar steal himself. And oh, that definitely doesn't look all that good right now for Lan. He almost lost the Scout Cavalry. And if Yarosa actually finds him, he's going to be killing him fairly easily. Definitely curious what this is going to be. Definitely curious. In the meantime, we might just as well check around the map. If there's something interesting, for example, for the pocket player. Gold at the back, definitely nice bonus, considering there is Hans, and he will need a ton of gold, and even extra gold on top of that. So, well, nice big gold mine in the front, and then two nice gold mines at the back. So far, not really kind of messages. So let's go back to the attempted stealing of the board from Bart, definitely nice. And this really seems to be some kind of basically almost national trait from Czech Republic B, because even in RTS League, CZ are stealing boars in basically almost every game. They always go for it, so that their teammates, or rather, well, teammates, well, it can be same, basically a lot of the players from Czech Republic are also from the CZ clan. Oh yeah, you need to be though a whole lot more careful, because of course the boar is not as fast as the Scout Cavalry. Oh, and she's coming back. Oh man. Well, that sucks. That didn't really work out all that well. Let's check at the top. There is a lure right now going on, also by Yarosa. So if actually right now Bulbasaur can make it yet again. We check. Ah, yeah. There was actually an attempt to restart. There was an attempt at restart. And who was it actually wanting to restart? Was it Spain? Yes. Spain wanted a re, and it was by Lan, and it was because, definitely because of this stolen boar. So that's definitely sucky for him. Another attempt right now going on at the bottom from Bulbasaur, and it really seems like that they might be able to steal from both flanks. And that's actually pretty significant, because they will get quite nice advantage through that. So they just mustn't really screw it up. Already barracks coming up for Bulbasaur, and we are at 5-6 minutes Yeah, well, he's not going to be really advancing yet, but it's really looking like that it's going to be a bit of a rush, and Bart right now going to be trying to steal the ball back, but apparently he's not going to be all that successful. Definitely doesn't seem like that he should be, so yep, that's extra board for him, and Villagers already eagerly waiting for him, and unfortunately, oh well, this might be a bit troublesome, because he was already coming for second board as well. Maybe he just wanted to make sure that Yellow is not going to be stealing it. Careful with the Villager, even though you have Bloom. Mustn't really underestimate the stuff in here. Already second board of his own, third in here. And at the top, of course, it's going to be something similar. One board, second board, and where is the last one? Right now being lured, so that it isn't stolen by the opponent at all. Whereas we are also looking at another, pretty much the very last one, lure by the red player, but oh, that was pretty close. Because he doesn't have Loom. Yeah, that's the reason why it was so close, and once, or rather why, the Villager almost died in there. In the meantime, Scout Cavalry just pushing a bit of deer. We are going to be checking, for example, the gold mines, stone mines, and whatnot. Since he's in the pocket, he doesn't really mind that the stone is behind the tree line, even though it can prove a bit sucky if he isn't walled in the castle age and knights coming to him. He definitely wants to be careful about that, and in the meantime, of course, Lan already trying to establish some kind of wall in, and that's definitely kind of sucky, because he does have forward gold. He does have one gold mine at the back, so that's at least something. Let's check if he actually knows about it, though, because that may be changing things a lot. He does. So if I were him, I would actually be aiming for the back gold right off, especially after a stolen boar, which means that it's going to be really having not a great start. Coming for the feudal age quite soon, but with 21 villages, with one boar less, and Drush already coming into his own base. So that's that. And of course we are going to be sending Drush against Drush at the bottom also. And it's going to be all about the micro, as those two guys are coming for the very full health Eagle Warrior. Red is going to be helping his teammates, so that's definitely needed, because of course the Scout Cavalry from Bulbasaur is almost half dead, and that was because he was luring the boar away. That's a lot of tactical battles in here, and definitely, well, at this point I'm kind of thinking it's lucky for Bart, because he's the one with the disadvantage because of the boar. So if any kind of economical advantage was to come to him on top of that, well, that would definitely be spiraling out of control a bit. Ralber is going to be second with the feudal age, but really this is pretty fast from Lan. He is Persian. Not all that sure what he aims to do. Not really sure at all. But it's really looking to be some kind of raiding. Probably I would be expecting archers from him. As right now Scout is dead from red. And how are actually deadish those guys? Not that much. They are all kind of nicked. But nobody is close to that. Like for example right now for Bulbasaur, it really seems like his Drush is going to be working quite alright for Bard. And yeah, this is definitely just the better skill coming through. In the meantime, Drush at the top seems to be so far going quite alright. All four guys are pretty much alive. They are going to be arriving at the food source, and feudal ages are of course trickling in from all the other players. Otherwise a bit of stolen sheep, just a bit of scouting, nothing really much else than that. And definitely kind of curious how Jarosa is not walling all that much. He's walling at the top, but he needs to finish with it quite soon, because he's probably going to be raided fairly soon by his opponent. Right now already stable coming up, so apparently Scout Cavalry raiding for the Persian, and that kind of makes sense of course, because it will make it easier for him to transition into raiding with knights in the castle age. So that's that for him. Drushers, well, still pretty annoying, making Lan not really gather anything all that much. That's a lot of idols actually. It's about 7 plus. Yeah, right now he's not paying attention at home, so he's having extra 4 idols. This is actually very good Drush. This is very good Drush. Even though he isn't killing anything all that much, this is working into his advantage quite significantly. Because he made like about, if he somehow make an average, about 10 villages for at least a minute or minute and a half to 2 of game time. And that's a whole lot. That's really a whole lot. Okay, just a bit of sheep in here as at the bottom, Purple has already walled himself successfully in. Not really any kind of problem with that. Oh, and we are going to be switching into a bit of a trash, are we not? Well, there is a stone mine. That is definitely not great. Definitely not great at all. And, well, I was kind of looking if he might be actually coming through and trying to deal with those guys, but they are already many times, so he cannot really afford that at all. Right now, Castle Age for Ralber and Draconti, so both pockets are going to be advancing at pretty much the same time. With their Conti at 99 villages, Rauber as well, so they are basically doing the same strategy so far, but I'm definitely curious how right now Bulbasaur is going to be coming out of this. He doesn't have all that many options. Oh, there is a hole actually. Oh, it's something he probably doesn't expect. Yeah, fairly certain. He didn't even scout in there, so that's not really any kind of surprise. And we might just as well check into Teal's base, because he's right now under attack as well. And these are just the scout cavalry guys that we have seen made by the Lan just a moment ago. So barracks up, it's going to be archery range from the Britons. Well, what else? What else, of course, as of course he's going to be having unusual gold mine problem, because he is not really vault, as I said a bit earlier. He basically underestimated this quite a lot. He thought that with his rush he's going to be keeping his opponent inside his base. But yeah, well, that's not really going to be happening. It's not the way that Lan wants to play this game at all. Already making sure that the tower is going to be a bit more protected than that. How did the yellow guy actually get there? Oh, yeah. They have already broken through the walls, and already second row of walls right next to the town center, which is of course not really that effective, as the guys are still going to be coming through. But yeah, it might be buying him at least some time, but unfortunately he wasn't really watching. He was probably just right now looking at the villages, biting a few nice chunks out of the Eagle Warrior, but that's pretty much it. And another tower is going to be attempted, and villagers already coming in to try and prevent it. And oh, he is actually preventing himself, or rather protecting himself from the right side, but not really from the left. He didn't really expect that at all. And this definitely might mean that those two villages might be dying. And yep, it definitely looks like that they should. Because there was a first hit from purple, and those yellow guys will be retreating somewhere else. We will really fight against the men-at-arms, who are probably going to be finally dying. But this is really well played right now by Bart, so as you can see, the Lost Boar at the start didn't really phase him all that much, and even though this trash is going to be pretty much failing, it still did its damage. It forced really Bulbasaur into a pretty uncomfortable position, and he will need help from his teammate pretty soon, exactly right now as Draconti is arriving inside his base. A quick look at the top, where just a few scout cavalry guys are still raiding on top of the gold, but of course with the spearman, not really that much more of that, even though he's doing what he can with Wheelbarrow coming for Lan, and the economy should be getting stronger for him as well. You can see already 37 villages, whereas Yarosa is at 28, Draconti 29, Bulbasaur 33, the other Espanols are at 35 and 33. So definitely they are quite nicely booming, and so far doing very well indeed. But of course it could also be the difference, because the Castle Age has already hit for Draconti and Yarosa, whereas for the opponents it really hasn't, just for Rauber. It seems to be pretty much dead. And at the top, yeah, that's pretty much dealt with as well, as this is going to be pretty important town center to capture the stone mines and whatnot, whereas yellow is probably right now going to be switching into a bit of a raiding with archers, as he is already prepared for that, going for basically just defending the watchtowers, as he's fully expecting that he should be under attack from Draconti pretty soon. But it's almost looking like the Draconti is going to be the first one under pressure from the pocket of the enemy Rauber. Yeah, well, better be careful which walls you actually delete. Seems to be quite in time, but of course he's going to be already facing knights. The palisades are not going to be effective anymore. He has finished even with the wall in this position, but he will need some kind of protection very soon. I don't really think that he's going to be able to deal with this, like at all, just by himself. Draconti so far coming to the top. He definitely will have to switch to the bottom very soon, as this doesn't look all that well for his teammates at the bottom, with Lan right now advancing into Castle Age, Bulbasaur as well. But yeah, this is really starting to be a problem right now for CZ, as Lan, with the Castle Age and all the knights, is going to be a proper counter to all the crossbowmen from Yarosa, especially considering that the economy is much stronger for the Persian just about now. So army arriving, both knights from Rauber and Bart's archers. Bart, well, not really advancing into the next stage yet. Let's quickly check into his point of view. Well, he's not really getting that fast as I would be thinking. He's basically just going to be hoping that all the knights from Rauber are going to be enough. That definitely could be, because both the gold mines are basically not secure. Not exactly sure why he didn't continue with extra tower, because he probably could have expected that he's going to be in knee-deep trouble. But this is basically just now exacerbating the fact that Draconti didn't choose to help him. Not exactly sure for what reason. Like, didn't really make much sense at all. It really seemed like that Yarosa was kinda alright, but they chose to go to to the top to basically make life as difficult as possible for the strongest player of BYT, aka Spain. And right now, of course, he's having such a long time to go back and help his teammate, as already at least a few camels are coming from inside his base. Alright. Economy is 49, 41, 33. Just from Bulbasaur, but he was quite heavily raided. So it kind of explains a whole lot. For Espanyol, it's 44, 42, and 58. So Ralber doing a pretty great job in the raiding, or rather, in the booming, sorry. And this definitely is not any kind of good news for the Czech Republic team, because it will mean that he will have, especially since he's not really raided at all. Right now, all the pressure is on CZ. He's going to be having all the time in the world to put up the 3 TCs, which are probably already way up, way up, and getting the economy at about, I don't know, 110, 112, 120 villages, and after that, you can kind of guess what's gonna happen in the Imperial Age. Alright, so right now Red is fully home to help his teammate who is switching into cavalry archers, already being quite nicely prepared with that, and oh yeah, since these guys are still normal archers. Has he just clicked into castle? Yes, yes. He has just clicked into a castle age. This is not really going to be surviving for much longer, because really this army seems to be... I was going to say that it actually looked like that it should be winning, but actually they lost pretty horribly, and I'm not exactly sure why. It might have actually been because they were fighting on the hill, and it really looked like that actually the knights were fighting a bit on the slope. It definitely wasn't such a great idea, but of course this is absolutely terrible right now for Bulbasaur. And even though he's in the next age and this is looking quite promising, we are not looking quite interestingly enough at all that many knights prepared from LAN. Not exactly sure why. What's actually the deal with him? Not really building all that many. Well, just literally one knight. Ah, because he's having knights in here in the red base. Okay, so he was already having army prepared. Right now going to be raiding into a pocket player. Definitely going to be nice idea. Nice DC next to the gold mine to protect it. But still, yeah, there's not really any kind of defense at all. Just a few knights in here. It's going to be kind of tough. Even the one extra camel could be making the situation difficult. But with those extra camels from right now, red player, it should be kind of alrightish. And they, of course, missed the town center because they... yeah, kinda see squat, so of course there's that. In the meantime, crossbowmen with a few at least in the front spearmen are coming into the blue space and going to be attempting to kill the gold miners. Because still, the front gold is not really his, and he should be already somehow moving in there, basically creeping slowly but surely. Either TC or just, I don't know, military building, whatever. He just needs to somehow slowly start map control in there. Because once he runs out of this little gold, yeah, he definitely has to hope that he's already going to be somehow established somewhere. Because if he's not going to be that, yeah, well, he will need assistance from his teammates, but definitely not really looking like that all that much. So, Jaroslav having a good game. Let's quickly check how the raiding is going. Bailan in their Conti's base, well, they are already almost dead. But in the purple base, you can also see that, yeah, this is not really a great game for Bulbasaur, and he does have very limited options what to do. Even though he has built a town center at the back, it's in the range of the crossbowmen. They cannot really go through here, but they could easily go through the top. And Bulbasaur is kept at 38 villages, whereas the other players are already at 86, 61. The opponent 74, 46, 90. So, yep, you can kind of guess where the game is really right now heading. It's going to be pretty tough. Pretty tough for the CZ guy to somehow come out of this battle alive. In the meantime, of course, the same is right now true for the crossbowmen. But they found a pretty nice choke point in there. But of course, they are going to be dying sooner rather than later, because already quite significant number of them has died. And this is just a reminder that it's gonna potentially die, even just to the town center. So nicely done. In cooperation of Ralber and Lan. As he's exactly right now moving for the front goal, and it seems that he is exactly listening to what we are saying. And with those knights already be in place, he should be able to deal with even those guys. But yeah, he's probably going to be needed a bit more extra help than he is so far getting. Oh, especially those reinforcements in there. Leather archer armor, definitely going to be helping. Ralber coming for forging, so that he has higher attack knights. And he's already at 104, even though Draconti is as well. So both pockets playing kinda similarly, even though Ralber was there quite a lot sooner. So overall, he should be better off. You can see he's winning on the score by 800. We mustn't forget that there's a significant problem brewing for Dragon T. Because of course, Bulbasaur has been more or less killed. Let's be honest about it. And he's already advancing onto him. So of course, with a bit of help from green, and that's going to be actually a bit more help than expected. You can see all the trickle on the minimap. This is all green. This is all Spain coming into Red's base. We are also checking how's it looking at the bottom, and quite alright for Bart as the Mayan already plumed archers, having the siege workshop right next to his opponent, and even though this Mangona could be getting a... Oh, just missing, good shot. Oh, didn't miss the second one. That wasn't bad. That wasn't how bad. This is really not an attainable position for Bulbasaur at all, and it's going to be all up to Dragon T if he's going to be able to somehow help his teammate soon enough. But really, doesn't seem like that all that much. Right now, attempting a castle, which didn't really get finished. That's double unfortunate because of course he's the Mongol. But yeah, that was one of the ways to actually secure basically his base from the attack on the right side. But yeah, that didn't really help him all that much. Whereas at the top we have just seen a massacre of the second squad of Jarosla's crossbowmen by the knights by both Rauber and Lan, and they are going to be right now switching into opponent's side of the map and finishing town center to protect the gold mine as much as possible. Alright, of course, so pretty big problems right now coming. Right now coming for Jarosa. As the Briton, he's going to be facing pretty soon even Cavaliers and Paladins, as Rauber is of course advancing into Imperial Age as well. And so far I really like how Rauber is playing this game, as he's both on the left and right in basically the correct numbers and whatnot. So it seems to be working quite fine, and yeah, his teammates, they are just complemented exactly by the knights. And it's working alright for the Spanish team. So there's that, going for a bit more kills on the villages, whereas I'm also looking at some green dots in Red's base. Yeah, he has apparently gotten through, whereas on the right he has also finished the castle. So apparently Yellow has lost the army in there. He was forced to retreat a bit back so that he can control Purple a bit more. And yeah, unfortunately Purple is just now going to be slowly dying. And he is at 35 villages still, even though Bart isn't half better, or rather half better off at 59. Still, he is in the castle age as the Mayan. He can already produce the plumed archers, which are quite efficient, and he's just taking the game at his own pace, coming for the market so that they are of course going to be able to trade pretty soon. Yep, they are already preparing from the right side as well. In the meantime, Blue just still continue with Raiden in Teal's base. Not really all that many places that he could be safely Raiden, because all the fire from the town center is of course quite dangerous to horses. So that's really kind of well played as far as base goes for Jarosa. Bit of extra raiding on the left, but definitely not going to be anything all that significant, because another castle has already went up from Dragon T next to the gold mine. But Ralba right now coming into Imperial Age, and even though Dragon T is coming there as well, he definitely will have to pull off something rather miraculous if he somehow wants to win the game for his team, because it's really looking like that it's going to be chiefly on him. The opponents don't have Mongols, but yeah, they're already establishing themselves in the middle, and the spam of the Paladins times 2. Because Imperial Age is coming for Lan as well. Yeah, that's a very, very hard thing to deal with on any kind of map. Oh, Monk coming. Yeah, he's not really going to be converting, but he is coming, of course, for the relic. To conquer it for his side. Alright, bit of red knights at the top to help his teammate, as there has been built castle to basically help protect the gold and whatnot. Blue, who is coming for another stable, and whereas at the bottom we are looking at basically Purple still continued loss. Not really any other way to say it, as he's still trying to somehow rebuild himself, but they are kind of running out of space, and I'm kind of thinking that he might be wanting to go a bit more to the back. Yeah, somewhere in here he should be establishing another TC, go for the farms and whatnot, because building your economy basically on the battlefront, this is going to be the battlefront where all the fights are gonna take place. Not such a great idea. It's just going to be way too vulnerable to any kind of attack by the opponents. Lan with Bart are already coming into the opponent's base. Whereas in the meantime, Blue just basically moving forward as much as he can. Another castle coming up with mining camp, another stable. So yep, everything getting nicely ready with already Blast Furnace and Paladin for Albert and Bart, also interested in the Imperial Age. So yeah, Mangura is getting ready, not really elites yet, but they are getting 4 bracer at least, and Thumbring and Chemistry, so they are not really going to be half bad. But of course, a bit more attempted raiding before Cavaliers are going to be clicking in for LAN. And building a market, hoping potentially for a bit of trade, because they definitely will have to be running out of gold sooner than later. And he's right now attempting to advance forward. It's kinda curious. Is he going to be trying to kill the castle or not? Not sure, but he's at least trying to force his opponent of the gold mine. And oh, that's a lot of knights. That's a lot of knights, and he definitely right now is just waiting for the Cavaliers. Oh, and he's thought, yeah, well, screw that, I'm gonna win anyway. And he definitely did. He did win big time, which means that basically right now Teal is out of any army whatsoever. He's going to be fully reliant on Red. And that means that Red is probably not going to be all that present at the bottom. And yep, the Cavaliers, aka right now Paladins, with full upgrades +4/+4, are already getting rid of the castle for Dragon D. And of course, Ralber is going to be supported by Yellow pretty soon. Yeah, Yellow just right now trying to fight away inside the base, and in the meantime, of course, still finishing with the purple base at the bottom on the left. So yeah, this castle is pretty much toast. There's not much reason to believe that it's going to be standing for much longer, and exactly as I said, this rebuilding in here to Bulbasaur cost him a lot of resources, and it just didn't make any kind of sense at all, because, yeah, the battlefield was quite obviously going to be happening in here, and the military buildings, especially with the castle drop by Ralber, who is just coming forward, means that the game is basically a GG. Cavaliers in the Teal's base without any kind of defense. That means just one thing. So very well played, and even though the game started gloriously for CZs with double steal from both of the flanks, you could have seen it didn't really face either Lan or Bart all that much, and they just, yeah, advanced forward, ever forward, didn't stop and falter for a single moment, and they really came for the victory quite convincingly. Nicely played by the Spain, and they are leading in the match 1-0. Let's check the achievements. Well, it's going to be Ralber as the MVP. I kind of have to agree, he really played really well. The pocket position helping on both top and bottom, exactly where he needed to be, and with the correct number of units. That's usually quite hard, and why the pocket position is very important in team games, especially 3v3, because it's all about that. If you let your ally be doubled somewhere, you are going to be making sure that you lose the game. So, nicely played. Of course, bit of a shame that CZ didn't take the game, but it has to be said it was well deserved for the Spanish. Nice economy by Dragon T. His arena experience in booming coming through, but yeah, it just wasn't enough. GG.